Good evening, everyone. I would like to introduce you to one of my three dogs named Harley. Now, what makes Harley so special is that she is our only pet that we adopted from an animal shelter, something we had never done before. We found out about her when our neighbor had adopted one of her two sisters and fell in love with her unique eyes, long spindly legs, and curly tail. We still aren't completely sure what breed she's a mixture of, but it doesn't really matter. We love Harley, quirks and all, and wouldn't want her any other way. Unfortunately, many pets aren't as lucky as Harley was. The Humane Society reports that each year, 2.7 million adoptable dogs and cats are euthanized in the United States alone. Now, if this statistic doesn't horrify you, I'm not sure what will. Many people feel helpless in this matter, but one of the most effective ways to combat the amount of shelter killings is to do what my family did 4 years ago: adopt from a local shelter. Adopting not only lessens the amount of shelter killings, it also offers numerous social and economic advantages, some of which I will explain to you all shortly. Hopefully, by the end of this speech, I will have convinced all of you that adopting from a shelter is not only the best option, it is the only option. Now, as I previously stated, shelter killings is a major problem affecting millions of helpless animals yearly. And the main reason, too many animals are being admitted into shelters and not enough people are adopting. The American Pet Products Association reports that each year, only 20% of canine companions are adopted from shelters. This lack of adoptions is very disappointing, and the main reason is there is a huge stigma attached to shelter pets in general. Many people assume that pets from shelters are dirty, bad behaved, and unworthy of love, when in actuality, none of these claims are true. The influx of pets and the lack of adoptions leave these shelters with no other option but to euthanize unwanted pets. There physically isn't enough room to keep all of these pets in the facility. To be more specific, 56% of dogs and 71% of cats are euthanized in the United States alone, according to American Humane. Now, I'm sure some of you might be wondering, how can just one adoption stop such a major issue? Well, it's not just one adoption. When you choose to adopt, one could lead to two, which could lead to four, and so on. If we initiate the idea that adopting is a great way to own pets, more of our family members, friends, and colleagues could follow suit. In Austin, Texas, Congressman Ryan Clinton for years has actively fought shelter killings through his organization Austin Pets Alive. This organization has built multiple shelters in accessible locations, with volunteers vowing to give each animal a chance, instead of just simply euthanizing them. Through Clinton's efforts, Austin has become the largest no-kill shelter in the United States. And according to NPR.org, this no-kill movement has reduced the amount of shelter killings by millions, proof to anyone that even the simplest adoption can make the greatest difference. Besides the aid in stopping the amount of euthanized pets yearly, another reason to adopt from shelters is that by doing so, you are stopping the rampant problem of puppy mills. Puppy mills are illegal sites where poor animals are forced to breed constantly until they are no use to the owner. The Puppy Mill Project estimates that there are 10,000 puppy mills active in the United States alone. These puppies ultimately end up in pet shops, where uninformed buyers keep these mills alive and running. However, when you adopt from a shelter, you can be sure that you are not supporting such a wicked organization and are instead giving a worthy pet a great home. In addition to combating puppy mills and shelter killings, another reason to adopt from a shelter is that by doing so, you're pretty much guaranteed a healthy cat or dog. Shelter pets are screened for health problems by veterinarians and are vaccinated. They are also spayed and neutered, a practice which significantly controls the pet population. And finally, they are screened for behavioral issues, so you can be sure that your future pet will be in the best shape possible, both mentally and physically. Now, I'm sure a concern might arise. What if I want to own a purebred? This is a valid concern, as purebreds are valued for their unique traits, but actually 25% of pets in shelters are in fact purebred, as stated by the Animal Rescue League of Boston. There are also rescue groups that focus on saving specific breeds so that people searching for desired pure breeds can get these from shelters as opposed to going through pet shops or breeders. Now, even though pure breeds are still very popular, I encourage all of you to keep an open mind to adopting all types of dogs, whether purebred or mixed. I can attest that my pure breed, Harley, has never had any significant health issues, while my past purebred dogs have been to the vet for various illnesses and ailments. So sure, Harley isn't your typical show dog, but she is a loving, energetic pet we know for sure came from a moral facility. In explaining all of these reasons to adopt from shelters, I hope you can all see how important it truly is to support your local shelters. It is not just for one dog. When you choose to adopt, you are setting a future precedent to everyone you know that shelters are not dingy warehouses full of mangy mutts. They are in fact clean facilities dedicated to supplying you with loving pets, just like the adorable animals seen here. A quote from shelter advocate Valerie Stab sums up the message perfectly. We fall in love with animals that aren't perfect. We fall in love with damaged beauty, with animals we as loving humans yearn to give great lives to. It is our responsibility as caring citizens of this country to stop the amount of euthanizations yearly and to fight the onslaught of puppy mills. And this can begin with a single trip to your shelter. With just one adoption, you are giving a healthy animal in need a chance at happiness, and most of all, a chance at love. Thank you.
Very good.